G'day and welcome, and we begin this video with Rosie's guinea pigs. There's one here and there's another one in the cage next to it here with three little pups, and there's one in another cage. Don't know why we're starting with this. This is about two Corollas, Lana's. I needed to service it. There's not much on the service, but I did the rear wheel cylinders and changed the brake fluid. And of course, we also have a look at April, the green one, and it's a lot closer to roadworthy than I would have given it credit for. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoy. Oh yes, before I forget, we also take a look at Dave's new Mustang in the end credits. Well, the next couple of days is all about Toyota. We've got to do a service on my daughter's car. I keep telling her to get a new car because this one's getting old. Needs some rear wheel cylinders, brake fluid change. I don't leave brake fluid on the bottom of the cars. Oil and filter change, and that'll probably do that one. The Toyota little April car's a stick for the back window, and I'm going to get a lot of teasing over that, but all three belts, timing belt kit, oil filter change. And of course the Starlight needs a screen surround painted onto it. This is a car that we got from fella down the road, a couple of doors down. He has since passed away. He died at 100 years old, and this is what he retired with when it was new in 1991. Now I've told my daughter she should really get a newer car. This was just one that she got her license with, and it was particularly cheap at $500 with 94,000 Ks on it. It's immaculate. So she's done 20. That's all she's done. And oddly enough, the automatics in these are geared better for freeway use than the manuals and the more modern ones. So what have I done on this? Last year I did a thermostat and a coolant change. It's due for an oil change. And when I've had it 7 years, I put new belts and all that sort of stuff on. And I think I did the cam belt. And did I do the cam belt? Yes, I did the cam belt. So that's cool. Anyway, we'll get it up, and I'm going to change the brake fluid out too. It's looking a bit dirty. I think I did that all those years ago too. I can't remember now what I did. Yep, no, that's dirty. Maybe I didn't. I remember I did a muffler on it and a few other things. Brake fluid maintenance is pretty important. I'm going to try and do this with one hand. But if it looks cloudy like that, it means it's got moisture in it. As we always say, it's hygroscopic. It attracts moisture and retains it. And that's when you know it's due for replacement. I actually replace brake fluid when I think it needs replacing, not when, like at service intervals. I just look at it. And I think service intervals are there for people who follow a schedule, or are supposed to follow a schedule. Well, I've just taken this bottom tray off, having a bit of a look around. This is a 30-year-old Toyota. I thought it was a pain. There it is up there. So this is a 30-year-old Toyota, and it looks like the equivalent 10-year-old in any other car. No oil leaks, touch wood. Transmission's not oiling, not leaking. Radiator's good. We'll have a look at the other Corolla that's done 187,000. But, you know, show me another car for $500 like this. Now when she got it, I put new disc rotors on it, pads, and I put a rear muffler on. And even then it didn't really need the pads and the discs. But there was a little bit of a lip on them. Being an automatic, you know, you obviously don't slow down while you're gearing down. Anyway, I'll put this tray back on and we'll fill it with oil and get the brakes sorted and we're good. Get a daylight. Alright. What do we have here? Oh, what a lovely Commodore. So this one was leaking, and I'm just going to pull that out of the way so I don't drop bolts in there and so forth. I'm running out of daylight though, and I want to get this done and move the cars. I've got to bring the other Toyota in This one had a bit of a sweat and the other one didn't, but I've just decided to do them as a pair. And just easy that way. I prefer the clamp ones. I'm using these old-fashioned ones, but I'll just squeeze the brake fluid out of there. That's no good. I've got rusty fluid coming out now. Fluid does not look too friendly. Right, we're going to get a new one, put it in. Yes, that goes like that. When give him up, take the clamp off. Right, are they facing right away? There now. Right, it's all sitting right. We'll just adjust the brakes and start bleeding them up. I might put new linings on next time, next service. Yeah, they're getting a bit thin. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's as good as done, I reckon. What's the brake pedal like? Got my keys. Oh, handbrake's nicely adjusted. Park. Nice and quiet, even if it doesn't got oil pressure. That's perfect. Alright, we're going to check the oil. Actually, that brake light, yep, that's cool. Quick top up, even in there's clean. And it's never been cleaned. Although I do need to give it, I might give it a new gasket and stuff next time. Lost focus. Let's go around the block, I suppose. Give it a road test. Which key? This one? It's a fantastic little car. Every time I drive it, I'm impressed with it. You know, it's the wrong reason to be impressed with the car because it was $500, but it drives so well. The steering wheel's still got all its original grain when it was new because the old guy had a cover on it, and the upholstery is immaculate under these horrible seat covers. These were Alana's choice. But it's really hard not being impressed with it. It's an auto, and the stupid part about it is its ratios are better for freeway or highway driving than the manual, because it's got a lock-up converter. So it gets into fourth, hits the lock-up converter. It hasn't got a tach, so I don't know what engine speed is, but it's not going to be above about 2400. It's just humming along, you know. But it's such a great little car. I put a CD player in it, which is all working. That's a Starlet radio. The original one just stopped working. I think it needed recapping or something, and it wasn't worth it. I did this at the same time I did the Starlet, the green one. And it's been really good ever since. But yeah, no complaints whatsoever. And like I said, Alana, she just doesn't want to change it. She loves the thing. And you know, there's power steering and air conditioning and all this other stuff, and the air conditioning's nice and cold. There's just not a single complaint. If I had to find something, the shocks are too soft. And so it does feel, going over chicane, or not going over raised pavements, pardon me, like that, it does feel bouncy. So that's not likely to be in the design of the car. That's more than likely to be wear and tear just over the last 30 years the car's been around. Because I doubt it's had any new parts on it in terms of suspension parts. But you saw underneath it before, it's just an absolutely squeaky car in terms of tidiness underneath. So that's all I'm going to do with theirs. That'll do it for another year. I think next time we'll maybe change out the brake linings in the back and rock cover gasket. I might do that, and that's probably it. And another oil change, you know. But it's hard not to be impressed. In fact, I think if she was to replace this with a CX3 or whatever she wants to get, I think it'd be a waste to sell it. You know, I don't like selling anything, but it's such a great little runabout, and it, being an automatic, it would suit pretty much anybody. That's the old Ringwood Aquatic Centre. I don't think anyone's been in there for a while. This is the road where we did the MGs driving, all up around here. So I think tomorrow, pending good weather, I'm on school holidays, so I managed to get a bit more work done. We'll get the little April card and take the front off the engine, maybe do the seals, the Toyota Corolla seal, or the front crank seal if you like, and the camshaft seal, and put a new idler on and put a cam belt on and replace all the other belts and give it an oil change. It'll also give us a chance to take the wheels off, have a look at the brakes. I'm typically going to be knackered because the brake fluid was low, so it probably needs pads and discs or whatever, but if it does, we'll just put new ones on. Ivy, stop it. Oh, my phone. Ivy. The wind's up and it's going to rain, but hopefully the noise isn't too bad for you. Let's have a look at this Corolla. Oh, just a second. That's the belt that broke, and I lost power assistance and a water pump. It's munted, so we've got new belts for it. And you can see in here some of the plies from the belt as it's exploded. And of course, it's just the one belt will control the power steering and the water pump just here. Oh, can you see it? That one there. And also the alternator. It's a very important belt. Quite a lot of load on it. Now this is a little bit dirty, it's not too bad. I think to do the cam belt and everything, we'll pop the washer bottle out just so we can see what we're doing. May have to take the front mount. I've never done one of these, I'm not sure. The clutch fluid is very dirty, we'll change that out. We'll replace the brake fluid. The coolant is the OE red Toyota stuff. It's in great condition. Hoses feel great. There's no crusty, cracky stuff going on in there. Everything's secured well. Everything's in fairly good condition. The throttle cable could use an adjustment. Graham put a battery in and an air filter element, which was great of him. But given it's a Toyota, I mean, look, I started doing some work on it. That mirror, I would fail it because the reflection in it, you can't see on the camera, but when you're sitting in the car, it gives a dodgy reflection. So we did the interior, and it's perfect. It's lovely. I've no issue with that whatsoever. I didn't put the footrest on. I've got to still do that. And of course we haven't got the guard on or anything like that. We haven't done any of the paint, but I don't think that matters for the moment. Brake pads are still roadworthy. The boots on the turret ends look alright. The CV boots look alright. There's no leak at the front of the engine. I've taken this tray off. You can see that belt there's a bit munted as well. That's starting to go. There's just muck around it, like this sort of thing, which is zippo to worry about. Shockers aren't leaking. Under here we've got a weep from an air conditioning line, which we'll clean off. Everything in here looks mint. It looks really, really good. I'm not getting carried away with, I mean, even those sway bar bushes don't look too bad. You know, what do you call it? CV joint looks alright. It's just really, really good. Exhaust looks great. I haven't got a problem in the world with this thing. And I would have expected it to be messy because it's old. Bit of muck there from the aircon line. We'll clean that off. Same diff on this side. Shocker looks good. Turret looks good. Stabilizer link looks alright. There could be duress on it because of the way it's jacked up, I'm not sure. I'll have a closer look. CB isn't leaking or anything, as far as I can see. The rack boots don't look too bad. Off to the back. Oopsie, I spat. I might have to do these. These look a bit munted. That's fairly common. Rear shocks look pretty good. The brake lines don't look bad. Stabilizer links again. Let me just get a screwdriver and have a look under here. It's got heaps on it. It's looking really, really nice. So it appears so far that the only issue we've got are cosmetic ones. Come on, you get off there, you son of a gun. Yeah, I think we're going to be replacing wheel cylinders on this as well. Brake linings look alright. Tow bar's coming off because I really hurt my knee on it, or my leg on it. What's this like? We'll do them as a pair. I don't even care what this one's like. Whoa, get off there, you son of a... That's dry. There's probably more bias on one side than the other. That's got a sweat or a leak. So we'll change those out. The lighting's alright. No leaks in the shocks. Panhard rod, everything looks pretty good. Rear sway bar, you could probably change those. I might leave that up to the roadworthy guy to have a look at it and see what he says. But it might be worth just banging a new set of tyres at this and trying my luck getting a roadworthy just the way it is. Well, the first thing we'll do a service, we'll drop the oil. It's going to rain soon, so I'll just do what I can today. They clip in there, and there's one bolt retaining them. Everything's just so neat and lovely on these cars. That's why mechanics love them. So we can really access what we're doing. There's also bits of belt down here. Look at this. This thing let go in an explosive way. So all the belts are off. It's just loose, I think. Oh yeah, that's all right. That's cool. Water pump doesn't appear to be leaking. A lot of these cam belt kits include a water pump. I'm not going to change it if it doesn't need it though. It's like glass when you break a windshield, you keep finding shattered glass. I'm going to be finding this stuff forever. Right. I want to take that off and have a look. I think it just comes off in the front though. I'm not really sure. It goes around the mount, so I might just pull that off and have a bit of a squizzy. Yeah, this is turning out quite well. You know, even if you don't like Toyota, you should probably buy one of these cars. I mean, even if you don't need a car, you should probably still buy one. They're that good. Just let that settle in for now. Sweet. I'm in two minds. I might. I have to take. I thought I could take that off, but the mount's in the way, so the mount does have to come off. All the belts are off, and I just had to take off the oil filter. I've changed that as well. So it's had its oil change. I'll just let that settle for a bit. The brake fluid I'm not going to do today because I'm going to buy wheel cylinders. I'll just let that settle. There's a good chance that, because it's quite, well, not cool, it's moderate today, but I'll just wait for it to settle down. I reckon we'll take that mount off, pop a jack underneath, and have a look at this cam belt. Never done one of these ones. I've got a jack and a block of wood under the engine. Whoops, I've got a camera caught on my hydraulic, on my line. I'll just use irrelevant today because I'm being lazy. course we do it all up by hand. Grant sent me a message, I just sent him one about the car. Now this should relent. Great. What's this front mount like? There's a few. Should we put a mount in it? It's still hanging on there. I haven't set this up on top dead center. I wanted to get that top cover off, but I don't think I'm going to be able to, so I'm just going to pop this off. Famous last words. Use the starter. That helped. Now, should that just come off? I think it does. Just a moment. Well, I think the 7A you need a puller. Maybe not, maybe it's just a bit of rust around it or something, but I ended up using a puller to get it off. Here's a bit of a pain. You've got to get a quarter drive socket in. Try and do it with your fingers. They're only the little guys. And they're only the little guys, but it would be if the pulley didn't come off. You have to take the engine out to get the pulley off. Oh, that one's tight still. Like this one. That one is too. Hang on a second, where's my spanner? Here it is. Should probably do it. You're kidding. We'll just leave it to the side and go around it, I think. We'll just leave it there. Three-piece cover. Nice. Bloody everything off this now because I couldn't get that out. I don't know what I'm doing. I should probably have called Dave because he's done probably 15,000 of these. And I've even taken the power lead off the alternator. And I'm going to take the rock cover off. I mean, why not? We could always get it hydroblasted too, eh? Look how beautiful it looks. The cam belt doesn't look bad either. And we'll just take that off. So, here's a rubber thing, you can probably reuse it. I'd be inclined. Oh, it's still flexible-ish. Actually, we'll take it off and just put it back in the cover where it belongs. I might get a new one. Where does that go? It goes that way. And just slicing up the corners when we put it back in. Just had this blue Celastic on it, but I don't know what the timing marks in this are. So I've got there's a pointer there, and I'm assuming you look through a hole. That's how you do it on the Starleys. So I'll just turn the engine around and see what we can figure out. I should look in a book, shouldn't I? Got this sus, there's a mark down there, and there's a mark here. I'm just going to flick this around a tiny bit. There should be an arrow. Actually, Dave Raymakers. Have you seen arrow? Ah, tricky, huh? That looks like the way. So we can just remove this belt. He's going to tell me Dave's on his way, right? And it's fortuitous because he's looking at a Mustang, and I said I need some advice because I've never done one of these, and he'll tell me to replace the seals, but I don't freaking want to. I just want to put a belt on and get out of here. But that belt actually doesn't look too bad. Dave. Hey, look at this. I need advice. Well, do you have to take all this shit off to get the cam belt?
No.
I took the cover
You've
off.
got to take the rocker cover off. Oh, no. Yeah, you need to take the rocker cover off.
It's got that hood thing on it.
Yeah.
And it's that mark through there.
Yep.
And the one on the crank?
Yep.
Oh, sweet. I know what I'm
You
doing.
can't get it wrong.
Yeah, well, I can. It's me.
They're nice and easy on these.
Isn't it a beautiful car?
Yeah.
I've gone over it. Even the front brakes, all right.
Yep.
It needs wheel cylinders, which seems to be common.
Yep.
Because I did the liners yesterday.
Yep.
Set of tyres. I've changed all the fluids out. The brake fluid's foul. And that's freaking it.
Top of the motor's clean too, isn't it?
It's really clean, yeah. It's a peach. I'm right for this. Well, this turned out well. Dave ended up putting it on for me. He's done a gazillion of these before, so it only took him a second. But that's great. I'm happy with that. The old one was a genuine Toyota one. It's only done 80 odd thousand Ks. Apparently these 150 or something they do. So there's plenty of life left in that, and it doesn't look too bad. The bearing, tiny bit of noise, but not too bad. So I guess it's just a task of putting some stuff back in. Right, well, running out of daylight. It was meant to rain today and it didn't, which is great. Got all the front of the engine back on. That's all good. I've left the washer bottle out. I'll put the belts on tomorrow. And I'll degrease that, clean it up, get it back on. I might get a new rocker cover gasket for it. I've got to get a set of wiper blades and rear wheel cylinders. Maybe a rocker cover gasket too. And I'm thinking about this, and it doesn't really need anything. So I might actually bang this through roadworthy quickly if I can. I was going to initially paint it first and change the guard and all this, but I might do that later. Get a roadworthy, put on Vicky Reg, and just use it. Put L plates on, get rows in it. Rego plate wise, sorry, we're on South Oz, but I've got a couple of Victorian ones here. So JFJ 454 was originally on an AP6 Valiant that Dad had. And I bought these plates years ago. I had them on the MG, I think. And the club permit thing meant that they wouldn't be applicable because it's on full rego. You need to be on full rego to have those plates. These ones here, I've got KZR 306 was on Dad's XY, and that was originally going to be on the XW, but again, you can't use general issue plates on the club permit vehicles. I had that on the Galaxy for a time before it went on club permit. That I was going to put on the Bluebird. And these ones here, this is LUR 228, and these are on Mum's LJ Tirana. That was a car she nearly killed herself in. And there's always been a little bit, should I? But I reckon they would probably, slimline one on the front of the Corolla, and it costs about $100, I think, to put them or assign them to the car. To buy them now, they're about $500. So I've got two full size. I might go for that on the Toyota. I think the black and white plates are going to look great because it's got a lot of black around the headlights and it's a nice dark colour. I think it's going to look mint. And we'll keep these KZRs for the Bluey. Although the Bluebird's old enough to go on club reg, I don't know if they would let me in the club because it is a 94 or something. I'm not sure. So it's either one of those two. I'm not really sure what to do. But I don't want general issue ones because that'll be like, well, the other one was 1MR 2CE or something. 1MR 5CL, that was it. And I think these old Victorian plates look much nicer. Well, I bought a new gasket for it. I'm just going to take off, I'll sort of clean around here and take off any of that old sealer. I don't want that floating around. Just old Celastic, that sort of thing. I'm going to scrape the corners of it and we'll put some fresh stuff down when we put our new gasket in. Got all our lovely belts on. This is the one that's really important because without that you've got no charge, no water pump, nothing. The only thing you've got is air conditioning. That controls your power steering, everything. Which surprises me they did it like that. This camera's in the way. I'm going to pop this back in. That spigot goes in there. There we go. Yeah, just the best cars. Show me a mechanic that doesn't like Toyota. So we'll pop some screen clear in there and fill it up. I'll just run the engine before I do that, but I've still got the cam cover off, the rock cover, because I gave it a bit of a wash. Oh, I haven't plugged it in. Where's the plug? There it is. There we go. I won't connect the alternator, because that gives me enough slack with that. I'll just go and check to see if the cover's dry enough now. A bit of thinner here. use them for after I've cleaned the gun and that sort of stuff when I'm painting. I'm just going to run along here, make sure it's nice and clean, and then we'll put the top on and see if it goes, and if it doesn't, we'll go inside. But it will, it'll be fine. I hope this is alright to use this stuff. It's what you seal up motorcycle cases with, and it is the stuff. Brilliant. I can't get in there. That was just a waste of time. Hang on, we'll do it on my pinky. Oh, look at that, I got in. And over the half moon, and this corner, get the cover and hang on, where is it? Which way does this go? Can you see what I'm doing? Yes, you can kind of see what I'm doing. Does it go there? I think it does. I think that's the right way. Yep, it looks like it. $50 I paid for this. Do you believe that? That lead. I'll make sure those leads are out the way. Right, how are we looking? Just put a bit around here as well. Just because I cheaped out, I didn't get the whole kit with all these little bits and pieces on them. I'm just reusing the old ones. But the gasket was a tiny bit hard. So I clean up the old washers and Bob's your uncle. Well, we hope it's your uncle. It might not be. The old Ford lasers, the KCs and KEs, were based on a Mazda 323, and as you tighten the two nuts up, there was just two in the middle. If you heard a pop or a click, you know you've gone too far. These ones appear to be a little bit more gracious. I hope that's all right. Springtime, don't you love it? Okay, so I've cleaned that little tray off that goes underneath the car. This looks all good. I haven't filled that up yet because I just want to test this thing goes, which I haven't even connected the batteries. I'm going to go too far. We've got to, that looks fairly fresh because I topped it up. It was low, but it wasn't that dirty anyway, but that is terrible, the clutch. So that's all got to come out and be replaced. I've done the rear wheel cylinders. I'm just ready to drain those and bleed them. In the meantime, I've got to, I'll show you what I've got to do. I've still got to weld this up off the EJ, and some of the details on the back of that wiper motor have to be repainted, which doesn't worry me because I've also got to just blow over these hubcaps. Some of that's actually the good one. The others are terrible. So I'll just rough them back a little bit, blow over them, and that means I only have to get the paint stuff out once. Alright, let's see how this goes. Perhaps run up against the bloody house. Isn't it how quiet that thing is? Yeah, a bit of a distant memory. I'm well pleased with that. That's just peachy. These cars are so awesome. Sorry I keep banging on about that, but I love them. We'll just let that sit, check the oil. I might paint those hubcaps now. Yeah. I'm just glad we saved it. It was going to actually go to the wreckers, or to the crusher, because she couldn't be bothered, or she didn't want to have to deal with some of the people you get when you're selling your car. And so Graham went and snaffled it, and he drove it around and put new plugs in and an air filter, and was good enough to hold it for me. Awesome. Righto, we'll give it some zoobs. That's what we used to call this stuff at Nissan. And top the rest up with fresh water. Right, cool. Excellent. These are pretty rough. I'll get out a light so you can see. They're pretty knackered, but they're all in one piece, so they're not too bad. And I've just gone over the rough bits with some 120, and a bit of 240 just to rough it up, and I'm just going to blow some jam over them. She'll be right. This is a dodgy job, but I don't care. Now, to do this properly, you'd use a plastic fill. You'd take those steel rings off, you would plate them, and that would seem like a funny thing to do or to say, but at the end of the day, it doesn't cost anything to do them when you're doing other stuff as well. So I'll give these 2 coats. I've just sort of splashed over it there. I'll pick it up. Just a minute. Not going to win any awards for this. I don't know what they're painting. I think they're painting acrylic. This one's damaged around the ring here. It's buggered. One of the other ones I threw out. It looked alright, but it was all sort of broken away. I don't know what that is. But it's now part of the hubcap. So I'll let that all go off, and then I'll come back and do a bit more. Yeah, I reckon that'll do. Yeah, I reckon that'll do. Should be right. Let's put these to harden off. Oh, there's an insect, but he got off. That's a good thing. And there's the other 3 there. Wonderful. Check this out. I don't think this stuff's ever been replaced. That is filth. I might actually try and clean this reservoir out a bit. Clean this beautiful old Plymouth off. Getting ready to start it up. Has been started for probably 12 months. Right, Toyota. I've got to clean this off. I forgot to put it on, the boot seal. There's the hubcaps. So I'm going to give this little guy a wash. I'm half tempted, actually. I've got some touch-up paint in a little can. Half tempted to take the front bar off and paint that. In 2 minds. I might just wait till I buy the proper paint. But I've taken this tow bar off, or the tongue anyway. I've left the tow bar there, and I'll tie that wiring up. I kept smashing my knee into it. Was it this leg? Maybe it's this leg. Yeah, it bloody hurt. So I'll tie that wiring up and give it a wash, I think. Everything's fairly spot on under there, which is good. All the oil levels good, all that sort of stuff. Gave it a wash. Paint looks terrible. Took some wheel covers on. Might give it some tyre shine. I don't think we've got any anyway. I never use that stuff. Normally, taking the bar off and just tidy it up. So I think what we'll do is I'll mount the camera and we'll go for a bit of a drive. I've got this pointed very well, I'm not sure. Anyway, must be time for a road test. I've just done the...
Go time, investors.
Okie dokie, let's have a look. What do we have to do? I still haven't fitted this. I don't know if you can see on top of the cluster, there's a gap there. I might just pull that off again and have a look. And nothing much else really, it all looks pretty good. He might actually knock back. The roadworthy guy might not like the what's it called? The like the spring seats, the rubber spring thing that the spring sits on, because they do appear a little bit perished. But that's about all I can sort of pick on it. Otherwise it's fine, you know. Well, it appears fine to me. I would probably knock this mirror back because the reflection does move a little bit. It's an aftermarket dodgy mirror, like a cheap one. So it remains to be seen if he knocks that. But I just sort of take it in now, see what he says, and if it's all good, well, just register on Victorian Rego. Oh, go up here, eh? Go somewhere different. It certainly runs well. Don't ask me why I doubled the clutch then. I used to do it when I was young, so I thought it was tough. But we don't have to on all synchro gearboxes. Up around this tree up here, I don't know if you can see that one there. When Charlie was a baby, we were pushing him on a pram back this way. We lived in Heathmont, and there were 3 Rottweilers, maybe 2, lived in a house here on the left, and they were circling us with their hackles up, and one was snarling at Charlie, who was at eye level. I've never been so scared for a kid. And we called the council. I mean, we're not dobbing people, but on that I was just, no, we've got to tell them. And the council did nothing. You know, I was just appalled. I just thought it was the lowest crap I'd ever seen. Pulling houses down here everywhere. Still got a squeak in the suspension I wouldn't mind getting rid of. We'll just see what they say. I'll give it some beans, eh? Better slow down. Goes well. So we'll see what they do with this. I want to go home and I want to put this to bed for now and have a look at that Plymouth. I want to start that. I haven't started it for a long time. Check this squeak out in the front. It's Fords that used to normally do that. And I'm going to do the Bluebird as well, just so Susie can drive it when she comes down, because it's the only automatic, or one of the few automatics I've got. So I'll do that, and then she can use that when she comes down. I almost wouldn't mind putting that on Club Reg, but I'm not sure they're going to let me. It's 94, and the club have been really good to me, and I'm just not sure if I send in a form for a 94 model car, if they'd be too thrilled. But it is 25 years old, so, you know, maybe they will, but I just don't want full reg on too many cars. That's the clutch. The clutch doesn't slip. It doesn't slip. It's just worn. So I reckon that'll do for this one. Well, it's mechanically nice, and I'll book it in for roadworthy. I think that's probably the best thing. I might just do that right now because I'm on school holiday and it is Monday. I wouldn't mind booking in for next week. So anyway, look, hope you've enjoyed this. Take good care of yourselves, and I shall see you soon. Dave Stang. That is really nice. I love the paint.
Yeah.
Gee, the rubber just fits under the back, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Gore. 68?
68.
Yeah. When did you pick 302? When did you pick it up?
Just now.
Oh, really? Man, that is a nice car.
Yeah. Good stance on it.
Yeah, yeah, hasn't it?
Racket in steering, tilt column put in it.
Oh, really? Top loader.
Yeah, top loader.
Gee, it's mint condition, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's good.
Gee, you can't go wrong. You go to the business end. And the indicators are in the bonnet, are they?
Yeah. Got the GT bonnet.
Oh, wow. Was it a Holly, is it?
Yeah. Good way to put that on.
Gee, it sounds good.
Yeah, it does. Gutless, eh?
Yeah, but it's only a little baby.
Yeah.
And it's probably stock anyway.
Yeah.
Gee, I like the way the air filter sits in the sort of Monte Carlo bus.
Yeah, looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Can't go wrong.
No, I don't reckon either.
Can I work?
Can you buy me something like that?
You've got
Yeah.
two in there.
Yeah, they're
You won't
Falcons.
give it to me.
They're not as cool
I
as
don't want
those.
to work for it.
Yeah. Let's put that there. I haven't finished that yet. I've got to get the back. Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, cross.
That's a nice car.
Yeah, isn't it? That's a nice looking car. What do you reckon? She haven't. Jesus. Move. Move, cat. Move. Move. Come on.